Appearance, by sure. Since it's already a match to the death, let's get it over with. The coldness in Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes gradually deepened. She already had a certain understanding of Nangong Aochen's strength from this initial confrontation. Although her cultivation was not as good as Nangong Aochen's, she is not without the strength to fight. The word concede has never been in her dictionary. She will never know the final result without fighting for her life. Nangong Aochen's handsome eyes narrowed slightly. That Bailey Hongzhuang could still say such words in this situation meant that Bailey Hongzhuang was planning to go all out. Since you are so eager to die, I will help you out. Nangong Aochen's voice was also full of chill. He couldn't continue to let Bailey Hongzhuang go on. What he wanted was a crushing victory so that everyone could see that the majesty of the royal family could not be trampled upon. On the other side, Bai Shi turned his head to look at Bailey Hongzhuang. Seeing Bailey Hongzhuang nod, Bai Shi's gaze fell on the opposite flame lion. A trace of fear flashed in the eyes of the majestic flame lion after seeing the white lion. His sturdy figure also began to tremble. Seeing this, everyone looked astonished. Why does it seem that the flame lion is afraid of that little white beast? What kind of little white beast is that? Why have I never seen one before? Everyone was puzzled. Although there are many types of beasts, the people present did not lack in experience. They are even familiar with ornamental beasts, but they had never seen a beast like Bai Shi. You think too much. How could the flame lion be afraid of such a small beast? Other people also disagreed. The flame lion is very rare among contract beasts. How could the contracted beast of a student from the backcountry Kanglan Academy be better than His Royal Highness? Old Huan, what kind of contract beast is this? Jian Qingqiu is not a stupid person. The concept of hierarchy among beasts is stricter than that of humans. Only when low-level beasts meet high-level beasts would there be such a reaction. In the past, they only regarded Bailey Hongzhuang's monster beast as a pet, but now it seems that this white lion is obviously not just ornamental. Huan Chuyu was also a little surprised. In fact, he had never paid attention to the white lion. This I have never thought about either. Huan Chuyu said slowly. However, Jian Qingqiu and Sang Hongxi obviously didn't believe Huan Chuyu, and thought that Huan Chuyu was trying to purposefully show off. Regardless of the strength of this beast, Bailey Hongzhuang will not be able to beat Nangong Aochen. Sang Hongxi did not have any positive feelings for Huan Chuyu. Yesterday, Huan Chuyu revealed Wei Hunyin's identity in front of everyone, which humiliated him. Now he only hopes that Kanglan Academy will return in defeat and come in last place. Huan Chuyu glanced at Sang Hongxi indifferently. At least my students from Kanglan Academy still have the courage to fight, unlike yours that don't even have the courage to fight. Seeing Huan Chuyu's words become more and more rude, Sang Hongxi also snorted coldly. You'd better pray that the good seedlings of your Kanglan Academy don't die on this competition stage. You! Huan Chuyu was furious, but Sang Hongxi had already looked away. This old guy was going too far. However, Sang Hongxi's words reminded Huan Chuyu that he must pay constant attention to the situation on the stage, and not allow Bailey Hongzhuang's life to be in danger. Horror, Nangong Aochen. Bailey Hongzhuang and Bai Shi started their attacks simultaneously. Bailey Hongzhuang's Yuanli surged towards her fist, and at the same time she shifted her shape into a shadow, disappearing like a ghost. Seeing Bailey Hongzhuang's strange shape, Nangong Aochen's eyes also flashed with surprise, his entire focus tensed, not daring to relax anymore. Hurricane break. Bailey Hongzhuang's moved as swift as the wind, and a martial art move as fast as lightning struck Nangong Aochen's chest. Nangong Aochen reacted swiftly. After feeling the fierce wind, he also initiated a martial arts move. Shaking Dragon Fist. Bang! When the two fists collided, the bursts of Yuanli cancelled each other out, but the level of the Shaking Dragon Fist was stronger than the hurricane break. Therefore, in this collision, Nangong Aochen had the upper hand. Nangong Aochen, who was initially nervous, revealed a smile. The royal family's heritage is simply not comparable to that of ordinary people. Compared to other cultivators, it is much easier for him to acquire advanced martial arts. A satisfied smile appeared in Nangong Oi's eyes. Bailey Hongzhuang had been jumping around for so long, he should have killed her in one fell swoop. However, Bailey Hongzhuang was not overly disappointed in losing on that attack. The Yuanli in her body surged again. There was a hint of coldness in Nangong Aochen's eyes. Bailey Hongzhuang's strength was clearly weaker than his, yet she dared to attack him first. This is simply unforgivable. Next, I'll show you how powerful the royal family is. The arrogance between Nangong Aochen's brows intensified, and the energy in his body continued to emerge, converging on his hands. As Nangong Aochen's hands continued to flip, a complex seal was quietly formed. At the same time, a heart-palpitating force spread from his hands. Heavenly Devil's Palm. As soon as these words emerged, a huge palm quickly formed behind Nangong Aochen. The entire sky seemed to be suppressed by this huge palm of Yuanli, and an unspeakable pressure swept across the hearts of the crowd. Bailey Hongzhuang's gaze fell on the Heavenly Devil's Palm. The same move done by Nangong Aochen and Nangong Xiujie were completely different. The Heavenly Devil's Palm cast by Nangong Aochen was almost twice the size of Nangong Xiujie's. This showed how much stronger Nangong Aochen's mastery of martial arts was compared to Nangong Xiujie's. Brother has already trained the Heavenly Devil's Palm to such an extent, this is too terrifying. Nangong Yuer's face reflected awe. The Heavenly Devil's Palm she had refined was not even comparable to Nangong Xiujie. Nangong Aochen really deserved to be called the most outstanding talent of the Qingshao Kingdom royal family. Nangong Yujin's face was ugly. The stronger Nangong Aochen is, the worse it is for him. This level of strength completely overshadows all the other members of the royal family. Only Nangong Oi's eyes showed a look of satisfaction. Nangong Aochen was really a gift to Qingshao Kingdom from the heavens, whether it was strength, mind, or ability, they were all 1 in a million. Huan Chuyu winked at Lu Huayan. The power of this Heavenly Devil's Palm is extraordinary. If Bailey Hongzhuang doesn't have a strong enough martial arts counter, Bailey Hongzhuang may fall here. Obviously, this kind of competition can no longer continue. Mo Yinjue's eyes were fixed on the competition stage. His expression was a little cold, but the Yuanli in his body was already surging quietly. Obviously, he also planned to save Bailey Hongzhuang before she was in danger. How is this possible? Master, this guy's Heavenly Devil's Palm is very powerful, you have to be careful. Xiao Hei's eyes were full of worry. It could feel the power of this Heavenly Devil's Palm. If the other party was an ordinary cultivator, Master should be able to fight against someone 2 levels higher. But Nangong Aochen's cultivation is obviously not simple. He was afraid that Nangong Aochen also could leapfrog combat. As a result, the gap between the Master and Nangong Aochen will be even greater. Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes flashed with strong fighting intent. The final result will be unknown until the last moment. In a flash, the Yuanli in Bailey Hongzhuang's body also surged crazily. As she kept flipping her hands, an equally palpitating energy burst out. Azure One Flame Sacred Palm. Bailey Hongzhuang yelled coldly. A huge Yuanli palm also appeared in midair, blazing azure flames covering the entire palm. The temperature of the entire martial arts arena also rose slightly, and a scorching heat spread. Anyone who had seen the battle between Bailey Hongzhuang and Nangong Xiujie was not unfamiliar with the Azure Flame Sacred Palm. Previously, Bailey Hongzhuang defeated Nangong Xiujie with this Azure Flame Sacred Palm, but Nangong Xiujie's mastery of the Heavenly Devil's Palm could not be compared with Nangong Aochen's at all. At this moment, it would be a bit whimsical to want to use this trick to stop the demon palm. A country bumpkin is a country bumpkin. She has only mastered a few moves, and she just doesn't have any more moves. Nangong Yuer's lips curled slightly, and she looked at Xia Jiqing and the others mockingly. They were from 2 different worlds from the time they were born. A touch of anger appeared on the faces of Xia Jiqing and the others, but there was also a bit of helplessness in their hearts. In fact, the heritage of ordinary people cannot be compared with that of the royal family. Elder Huan, can't your Kanglin Academy hand over any decent martial arts to its students? It's very difficult to conquer the world with only one move. Song Hongxi mocked. There was also a smile on Jian Qingqiu's face. This is the royal family's heritage. With things going the way they were, it would be impossible for Kanglin Academy to turn things around. However, Huan Chuyu didn't bother to pay attention to Tsang Hongxi at all. It's not that Kanglin Academy doesn't have martial arts to teach students, it's just that Bailey Hongzhuang came to Kanglin Academy only a little while ago, that's all. With the power of your Azure Flame Sacred Palm, you are doomed to fail. Nangong Aochen's eyes showed a trace of contempt, and he was able to judge the outcome before the two attacks collided, because the gap between the two really is too large. However, the corners of Bailey Hongzhuang's lips slowly hooked up in a wicked and enchanting arc. That's not necessarily true. Suddenly, everyone saw Bailey Hongzhuang's hands flipping again, and her face turned slightly pale. Just when everyone didn't understand what Bailey Hongzhuang was doing, Bailey Hongzhuang's hands suddenly folded together, and the azure palm suspended in midair suddenly shrunk a bit. Seeing this, Nangong Aochen's pupils shrank and a look of disbelief appeared on that serious cold face. The scorching temperature increased as the azure palm shrank and the entire palm became more dazzling, even completely blocking the sun's brilliance. How is this possible? Nangong Aochen asked in astonishment. TL/N1 actually is a blue-green color, some say cyan, some say blue, some say green. I'm making it azure for convenience. An amazing scene. It is not the most difficult thing to enlarge martial arts, but it is extremely difficult to shrink it. Once the martial skill is reduced in size, the energy of the martial skill is more condensed, and the power of the martial skill is also greatly enhanced. It's just that the degree of difficulty is indescribable. If his perception was correct, this Azure Flame's Sacred Palm should be an early Xian 1 rank martial skill, and it would be too difficult to shrink it. He didn't understand how Bailey Hongzhuang actually did it. Not only Nangong Aochen, but also the cultivators who were watching were in shock. This technique is really amazing. Xia Jiqing and the others were stunned. It seems that what they learned before was not Hongzhuang's true strength. No wonder Hongzhuang was only slightly injured while Nangong Xiujie was injured like that. If Hongzhuang had used this trick at the beginning, Nangong Xiujie would have had no choice but to die. Apparently, there were quite a few people who figured this out. Gradually, many people changed their opinions about Bailey Hongzhuang. Bailey Hongzhuang was merciful to Nangong Xiujie previously, but now Nangong Aochen wants to kill Bailey Hongzhuang. Comparing the two, everyone can't help but feel that the royal family is too narrow-minded, but they dare not say this. How did you do it? Nangong Aochen couldn't help but ask out loud. If this technique was used in battle, the explosive combat power would be improved by more than a little. Bailey Hongzhuang chuckled softly, and a hint of mockery appeared in her eyes, which were as quiet as a deep pool. Why should I tell you? Nangong Aochen was probably accustomed to being revered, even asked this question was asked with a condescending tone. Others care about the identity of His Highness the Crown Prince, but she doesn't care at all. Hearing this, Nangong Aochen's expression changed a bit. At this moment, he didn't want to kill Bailey Hongzhuang anymore. This woman had mastered such a magical technique. If she were kidnapped by the royal family so that he could learn the technique from her, it would be a great help to him. It's just that it's a pity that the Emperor's order is hard to refuse. As Bailey Hongzhuang and Nangong Aochen were confronting each other, Baishe rushed towards the flame lion like lightning. It's unforgivable that this bullshit lion is showing off in front of everyone, and he, the majestic beast king, is ridiculed by everyone as a useless little one. The flame lion has always been pampered by the royal family. Although it has an unspeakable fear of the white lion in its bones, it has followed its arrogant master for a long time, and it really regards itself as a hero. It went to kill the white lion also. When everyone saw the white lion attacking the much stronger flame lion, they all felt it was ridiculous. This little guy was just as helpless as its owner. However, in the next moment, an amazing spectacle occurred. Roar! Baishe roared, And the attitude of the flame lion changed slightly. The moment the two monster beasts pounced, Bai Shi's movements were as fast as lightning, and it leaped to bite the flame lion's throat with the speed of a violent storm. If you dare to challenge the king of beasts, prepare to pay the price. Two figures, one red and one white, crossed and blood sprayed in midair. When everyone could see clearly, the flame lion had already fallen to the ground whining. Where was its previous majesty? TL/N1 The Xian realm is the realm before the innate realm which Bailey is currently in. See my list here for the current rankings. http://stalled translations. com/cultivation levels Bewitching prince spoils his wife / Chapter 857, Bewitching prince spoils his wife, genius doctor and scrupulous consort beast, how dare you? The audience was silent. Everyone stared dumbfounded at this scene. Isn't this too unbelievable? The majestic and prestigious flame lion was bitten on the throat by the little white beast in a face-to-face fight? What species is this little white beast? What kind of lame flame lion is this? Everyone praises this level of combat power. It's laughable, right? Xia Jiqing couldn't help laughing. Everyone praised the flame lion earlier. Nangong Aochen also regarded the flame lion as a treasure, yet it was defeated so easily. The royal family spent so much money and effort to cultivate such a useless beast. However, when Xia Jiqing chuckled, Gong Shaoqing and the others did not smile, and their eyes fell on Bai Shi. It seems that they had underestimated Bai Shi. I knew that it was absolutely impossible for Hongzhuang's contracted beast to be an ornamental beast. Cui Haoyan sighed, still feeling unspeakably shocked. When they first found out that Bailey Hongzhuang had contracted such a beast, they felt it was unbelievable. After all, Bailey Hongzhuang had never been an ostentatious person. This kind of ornamental beast is the type that some officials who are not strong in combat like to keep in captivity, but as a cultivator, this kind of beast is a hindrance. All the previous confusion was immediately cleared up after seeing Bai Shi make a move. This white lion is simply pretending to be a pig and eating a tiger one. The contract beast is like its master. The fighting power of this white lion is as perverted as its owner. Bai Junyu shook his head speechlessly. Fortunately he and Bailey Hongzhuang were teammates, otherwise it would be terrible to offend such an opponent. Gong Shaoqing took a deep breath and calmed down the shock in his heart. The flame lion has the strength of 5th level of the Red Realm, which proves that the cute little beast that had always been inconspicuous also has at least the strength of 5th level of the Red Realm. Bailey Hongzhuang is really extraordinary. Nangong Yuer and the others were stupefied. They knew how strong the flame lion was. A true 5th level Red Realm cultivator, even stronger than ordinary 5th level Red Realm cultivators. However, after this one face-to-face charge, the flame lion was half dead. What kind of contract beast did Bailey Hongzhuang have? After Nangong Aochen saw the flame lion lying on the ground, his face instantly turned livid. He had contracted the flame lion when he was very young, and the flame lion had grown up with him. In his heart, the flame lion occupied a very important place, and he even regarded the flame lion as a relative. Bai Shi chewed on the flame lion's flesh and swallowed it in one gulp, enjoying everyone's attention. Now, everyone should know the ability of Bai Shi. The next moment, Bai Shi leapt towards the flame lion again. The meat of the flame lion was not bad. Whoa! When the flame lion saw Bai Shi attacking again, there was a trace of panic in its eyes. It was no match for the white lion at all. Seeing the actions of the white lion, Nangong Aochen was about to burst into tears. You beast, how dare you! However, Bai Shi ignored Nangong Aochen's words, leapt up, opened its mouth wide to reveal sharp teeth, and bit the neck of the flame lion again. Nangong Aochen's eyes flashed wisps of blood. The heavenly devil's palm immediately attacked Bai Shi. Your opponent is me. However, just when Nangong Aochen was about to attack Bai Shi, Bailey Hongzhuang had already blocked Nangong Aochen. Your opponent is me. Compared to Nangong Aochen's face full of anger, Bailey Hongzhuang looked very indifferent. For such snobs, they need to learn that there is always someone more talented than oneself. Go to hell. Nangong Aochan could no longer control his emotions, and he used the Heavenly Devil's Palm to attack Bailey Hongzhuang without hesitation. At the same time, Bailey Hongzhuang's mind moved the Azure Flame's sacred palm forward to meet it. Just after the two attacks collided, Bai Shi had successfully bitten through the flame lion's neck. He has no difficulty in beheading whomever he wants. Nangong Oi's eyes were seething with anger, but as the emperor of Qingshao Kingdom he couldn't show it. This Bailey Hongzhuang must die. Boom! The two attacks collided abruptly to the horrified eyes of the crowd. At the moment of impact, a terrifying thunderous sound like 9 days of thunder erupted. Ripples of primordial force visible to the naked eye spread out, covering the sky and the sun, darkening the entire sky. At the moment these two attacks erupted, protective shields around the arena instantly activated, and a layer of light golden protective shields covered the entire arena to prevent energy leakage from affecting the cultivators in the stands. The Yuanli storm swept across the protective cover, but no one could see the situation inside the protective shields, and no one knew what the result was. Outside the protective cover, Bai Shi looked inside the protective shielding with the flame lion's head in its mouth. As the collision erupted, the master had asked it leave the arena. After all, it would only be affected if it stayed inside with such energy. Although the scope of this martial arts arena is not small, it was still somewhat dwarfed by the energy collision between Bailey Hongzhuang and Nangong Aochan. However, when everyone saw Bai Shi holding head of the flame lion, they all felt ridiculed. And the person who had said that it would be good enough if the white lion could survive a single move against the flame lion, kept silent, just hoping that everyone would not remember what he had said. Nangong Oi's hands were pressed firmly on his knees, his calm face reflecting the majesty of the emperor, but everyone knew that Nangong Oi was in a bad mood. Huan Chuyu and the other people's eyes were glued to the competition arena. The battle was so explosive that they couldn't even make a judgment. A look of worry appeared in everyone's eyes, and no one knew whose combat power was stronger in this collision. Logically speaking, Nangong Aochan had the upper hand, but Bailey Hongzhuang's sudden compression of the Azure Flame's sacred palm surprised everyone, so it was impossible to judge the power of the compressed Azure Flame's sacred palm. Hongzhuang should be okay, right? Xia Jiqing clasped her hands together, her eyes fixed on the competition platform. The scale of energy was a bit frightening. If she was in such an energy storm, it would be very difficult to survive. I believe Hongzhuang will be fine, Zhang Yunfeng said solemnly. She believed in Hongzhuang's strength. Although Nangong Aochan's strength was very strong, as far as Bailey Hongzhuang's combat effectiveness was concerned, even if she lost the battle, it would not be life-threatening. Everyone was silent, they could only wait for the energy storm to dissipate to find out the results. Endless consequences. After the energy storm dissipated, the protective shields gradually receded, and the situation in the competition arena was revealed to everyone. It's just that when everyone saw the situation in the competition arena, they couldn't help but gasp. The competition arena that was built with extremely hard stone had a huge hole in it. The area surrounding the hole was also covered with dense cracks, showing the huge destructive power caused by these two attacks. Nangong Aochan's light yellow clothing was stained with blood, and the luxurious brocade robe was also slightly torn. The jade crown was tilted slightly, and his hair was a little messy and disordered. His hands trembled slightly, and the expression on his face was extremely ugly. When the people of Qingshao Kingdom saw Nangong Aochan's appearance, their faces were incredulous. They had never seen Nangong Aochan in such a wretched state. Usually, in normal battles, Nangong Aochan crushed his opponent with overwhelming strength. But now, Nangong Aochan has reached this state at the hands of a cultivator who is 2 levels weaker, which is too shocking. Everyone turned their gazes towards Bailey Hongzhuang. Bailey Hongzhuang's condition was also very bad. Blood flowers bloomed on her white dress, and a bloody smell quietly permeated the air. 3,000 black hairs uncoiled and came loose, her pretty face was a little pale, and Hongzhuang's loose black hair flowed down, seemingly creating a sense of wonder and poignancy. Bailey Hongzhuang's left rib seeped blood slowly, but her expression did not change at all. Nangong Aochen looked at Bailey Hongzhuang and his mood shifted. Previously, he only knew that Bailey Hongzhuang's strength was good, but he never really regarded Bailey Hongzhuang as an opponent. But at this moment he understood Bailey Hongzhuang's true strength and felt how terrifying she was. She made him fall into this condition with her cultivation at the 3rd level of the Red Realm. If Bailey Hongzhuang's cultivation base reached the 5th level of the Red Realm, he was afraid that the one who would be crushed would be him. Thinking of this, the killing intent in Nangong Aochen's heart grew stronger. As a child of the royal family, he clearly understood how terrifying an opponent like Bailey Hongzhuang would be when she grew up. If she were not an opponent, it would have been fine. But since Bailey Hongzhuang was already at war with him, then he absolutely could not let Bailey Hongzhuang walk off the competition arena alive today. Otherwise, there will be endless consequences. Now, everyone held their breath and no longer dared to mock Bailey Hongzhuang again. Because, with her actions, Bailey Hongzhuang had already demonstrated her ability. To be able to achieve such a result against Nangong Aochen in a leapfrog battle, this is a well-deserved combat genius. Gong Shaoqing and the others were shocked that Bailey Hongzhuang's strength had reached this level. Jian Qingqiu and Song Hongxi looked at each other. They were flabbergasted by the appearance of a pervert like Bailey Hongzhuang at Kanglin Academy. How could this Bailey Hongzhuang have such terrifying achievements in every area at such a young age? Nangong Aochen's gaze fell on Bailey Hongzhuang. I admit, your strength is very strong, but your cultivation base is your flaw. I may not be your opponent over time, but at least for now, you still can't beat me. Nangong Aochen's expression was ferocious. He wanted to totally strangle Bailey Hongzhuang. If you have the ability, bring it on. When Nangong Aochen acknowledged Bailey Hongzhuang's strength, proving her excellence, the amazement in the crowd's eyes grew. Bailey Hongzhuang looked at Nangong Aochen coldly. This guy's strength was indeed not weak. Talk is cheap. Nangong Aochen sneered, you have been seriously injured, cannot be my opponent. Bailey Hongzhuang's ribs were broken and if she continued to fight she couldn't fight at his level, but Bailey Hongzhuang didn't want to admit it. If you have the ability, bring it on. As Bailey Hongzhuang's words fell, countless shocked gazes condensed on her body. In these circumstances, Bailey Hongzhuang actually wants to continue fighting? If she isn't careful, Bailey Hongzhuang will leave her life on the stage. There was a hint of ridicule in Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes. Nangong Aochen thought he had the upper hand, but his internal organs should be burning uncomfortably. Xia Jiqing couldn't help but look at Lu Huayan. Instructor Lu, can Hongzhuang continue to fight in this condition? Lu Huayan's expression was also a little complicated, but according to the rules of this final, as long as the students in the competition don't admit defeat, they can't stop this competition. I believe that Bailey Hongzhuang knows what she's doing. Lu Huayan said slowly. Xia Jiqing also fell silent. She was worried about Bailey Hongzhuang's well-being, but she also knew that the probability of Bailey Hongzhuang admitting defeat was very small. Although Nangong Aochen is usually regarded as a righteous person, when the dignity of the royal family is challenged, this guy does not retain his righteousness. In her opinion, this group of people from Qingshao Kingdom's royal family all fully deserve to be called villains. Bai Shi dropped the flame lion's head, and immediately stepped into the arena. The flame lion's head rolled to the bottom of the stands where Nangong Oui was seated. Although this was an unintentional action by Bai Shi, in the eyes of everyone, this made a mockery of Nangong Oui. Nangong Oui's gaze rested on the flame lion's head for a moment. His expression did not change, but in a blink the members of the royal family around him stood up. The little white beast has already left the arena, which proves that it is no longer qualified to continue fighting. To be a fair competition, the little white beast can no longer compete. Following this comment from the royal family members, the crowd looked at each other in dismay. Usually, this rule only applies to cultivators, and is not binding for contracted beasts. In many cases, contracted beasts will continue to fight. However, one is not allowed to say that it is unreasonable for the royal family to bring out this rule at this moment. The royal family of the Qingshao Kingdom is too shameless. There was a trace of anger on Bai Junyu's face. Originally, as long as Bai Shi competed, given Bai Shi's strength, the chance of winning this competition was almost guaranteed. Who would have thought that the royal family would come up with such a rule? This is really the ultimate in shamelessness. I wondered why Lingyin Academy won first place in the past few academy exchange competitions. It turns out that it relies on being shameless. Zhang Yinfeng's voice was cold. Originally, she still had some respect for Qingshao Kingdom's royal family, but now it seems they are simply shameless people in luxurious clothes. Too much deception. The people of Qingshao Kingdom also fell silent at that moment. Although they knew that Qingshao Kingdom's actions were a bit excessive, because the emperor was here, they didn't dare say anything unless they wanted to lose their lives. Huan Chuyu frowned slightly and said, "The contracted beasts battle has never been restricted by location. This type of argument is a little unreasonable. Usually, when there are contracted beasts participating in the competition, because the cultivators' battle encompasses quite a wide range, in order to affect the cultivators as little as possible, the battle of beasts appearing outside the competition arena is a common occurrence." After Jian Qingqiu noticed the expressions from the royal family members, he understood that no matter what, Nangong Aochen must win this battle. As the crown prince of Qingshao Kingdom, Nangong Aochen's identity is different from ordinary cultivators. Today he must win no matter what. Because, he represents the position of the crown prince of Qingshao Kingdom. The reason why Nangong Oi let Nangong Aochen compete this time is to let everyone know the strength of Nangong Aochen. If Nangong Aochen fails today, it will do great damage to his reputation. Lingyin Academy is attached to the royal family of Qingshao Kingdom, so Nangong Oi's orders naturally cannot be disobeyed. Jian Qingqiu quickly recovered his dignified expression. Elder Huan, the competition between cultivators is limited to the martial arts arena. Once a cultivator falls outside the martial arts arena, it will be ruled a loss. This is naturally the same for contracted beasts, Jian Qingqiu said slowly, but his gaze was directed at Song Hongxi. Song Hongxi immediately understood, nodded, and said, "That's right, what Principal Jian said is reasonable." Huan Chuyou's face darkened instantly. These two old guys are too shameless. There has never been such a rule in previous academy exchange meetings. You guys are too deceitful. Huan Chuyu stood up, his normally mellow and benevolent face was full of indignant anger. Ever since he came to Lingyin Academy, Jian Qingqiu and Song Hongxi's dealings have become unbearable, and now Bailey Hongzhuang has fought so hard just for the honor of Kanglin Academy. He had put up with the previous incident, but this matter was related to Bailey Hongzhuang, so he could no longer do nothing. When Huan Chuyu stood up, everyone in the stands was in an uproar. As the vice principal of Kanglin Academy, he had already shown that this competition is unfair, and everyone looked at Nangong Oi in unison. They didn't know how the emperor felt about this. When Xia Jiqing and the others saw Huan Chuyou's protest, they were also excited. At least, it was proof that the vice principal was on the side of his students. Neither Jian Qingqiu nor Song Hongxi thought that Huan Chuyu would suddenly break with them. According to reason, Huan Chuyu could only bear this anger in such a situation, so what happened to Huan Chuyu? Huan Chuyou's eyes burned with anger. After seeing the students of the academy suffer all kinds of blows with one being seriously injured for this so-called academy exchange meeting, he suddenly could not understand what he had been obsessed with all these years. Kanglin Academy existed to train students, and the purpose of the academy exchange competition was just to motivate students' cultivation at the beginning. He didn't know when the academy exchange competition started becoming a battle of interests, sacrificing students only for their TL/N, the academy's honor. What's the point of that? Chapter 862, Bewitching Prince Spoils His Wife, Genius Doctor and Scrupulous Consort a complete break. Instead of participating in this kind of academy exchange competition just for the benefits, it would be better to just give up. Kanglin Academy can exist on its own. What does it matter, if there is no comparison? Why should they care so much if they are not affiliated with Lingyin Academy and Beihai Academy? In that instant, Huan Chuyu figured this all out. Everything was for the students, and he would not tolerate these little tricks of Lingyin Academy any longer. Elder Huan, what are you doing? This is an original rule of the Academy exchange competition. Jian Qingqiu was a little anxious. He couldn't understand what Huan Chuyu was doing in front of all these people. What rules? It seems as long as the rules are beneficial to Lingyin Academy, then they are the rules. Huan Chuyu's voice was cold. Kanglin Academy had tolerated it again and again only for Lingyin Academy and Beihai Academy to want more. He would no longer be tolerant. As Huan Chuyu's words fell, everyone's expressions changed. The vice principal of Kanglin Academy was really throwing caution to the wind. The vice principal is so domineering. Xia Jiqing's eyes shone with excitement. No matter what the outcome of this academy exchange meeting is, the vice principal is her idol. It was really rare to see a mentor who is not afraid of power and instead focuses on the interests of the students. A look of excitement flashed across the faces of Bai Junyu and the others. This feeling, it's crazy. However, they feel hot-blooded and impulsive with the vice principal saying this, so what are they afraid of? Elder Huan, what's wrong with you? There are so many people watching now. Jian Qingqiu's complexion changed completely. Although he had long disliked Kanglin Academy and they had always been at odds with each other, at least on the surface they had never revealed it. However, now that Huan Chuyu is so disrespectful towards him, it is obvious that he intends to completely embarrass him. Huan Chuyu's eyes were cold and his attitude was resolute. What I've said stands. Jian Qingqiu's face became ugly. He didn't expect that the older Huan Chuyu gets, the more insensitive he becomes, openly provoking the royal family of Qingshao Kingdom. This was asking for trouble. Nangong Oi's eyes also changed a bit, coldly looking at Huan Chuyu. In the next moment, members of the royal family quietly stood up behind Huan Chuyu. It was obvious that if Huan Chuyu dared to say a word of dissatisfaction about the battle, the royal family would use coercive means to deal with Huan Chuyu. At the same time, Xia Jiqing and the others were also surrounded by members of the royal family. This was obviously holding them hostage. All of a sudden, everyone's expressions changed. This was a blatant threat from the royal family of Qingshao Kingdom. However, they didn't dare say anything. They didn't expect that the royal family would even use this method to guarantee Nangong Aochen's win. At that moment, even the expressions of the cultivators of Beihai Academy changed. The royal family of Qingshao Kingdom is really terrifying. If they are not careful, they might lose their lives. After all, this is the Qingshao Kingdom's domain. Huan Chuyu's face changed suddenly. He wanted to say something else, but after seeing Xia Jiqing and others being surrounded, he couldn't speak anymore. This is the imperial city of the Qingshao Kingdom, and if the royal family takes action, it will be impossible for them to leave the Qingshao Kingdom. Principal Jian, you really have a good strategy. Huan Chuyu's voice was full of restraint and resentment. When the Qingshao Kingdom's royal family adopted such a tactic, Kanglin Academy's relationship with Lingyin Academy was severed completely. Shameless. After Jian Qingqiu heard Huan Chuyu's words, his face changed a little. This scene was also not within his expectations. However, the royal family had already made a move, so he couldn't say anything more. Song Hongxi's eyes fell on the royal family, and there was a flash of unease in his eyes. The royal family's attitude was a bit too extreme. Although he had always hoped to rely on the power of the royal family to spread the reputation of Kanglin Academy and strengthen their reputation, he never thought that the royal family's attitude would be so harsh. The royal family of the Qingshao Kingdom is too despicable. Xia Jiqing looked at the scene in front of her in disbelief. She never thought that during this academy exchange competition the royal guards would be used. Wasn't this using the Kanglin Academy students as leverage to threaten Hongzhuang? Thinking of this, the anger in Xia Jiqing's eyes disappeared and was replaced with shock and resentment. Now that Hongzhuang is on the high platform, could it be that the royal family of Qingshao Kingdom wants Bailey Hongzhuang to die? No, this absolutely cannot happen. Xia Jiqing's face was full of panic. How could Bailey Hongzhuang be allowed to bear the pressure for all of them? The faces of Gong Shaoqing and the others also changed. The royal family of Qingshao Kingdom is too heartless. How can they bear this? Could it be that the royal family of the Qingshao Kingdom intends to hide the truth? Gong Shaoqing's eyes were burning with anger. This was total blackmail. In a flash, the atmosphere of the entire royal arena changed. This is the means of the royal family of a great country. Wanting to challenge the dignity of the Qingshao Kingdom's royal family here is simply impossible. It's just a few students from Kanglin Academy. As long as the royal family wants it, they can completely obliterate them, and at the same time, suppress the news. At this moment, everyone sympathized with the cultivators of Kanglin Academy. Sometimes, it is a mistake to be too outstanding. A small wave of fluctuation swept through Mo Yinjue's eyes, and at the same time, his gaze quietly looked at a man not far away. After noticing Mo Yinjue's gaze, the man immediately understood, and quietly left the royal arena, unnoticed. Nangong Oi had ordered the sealing off of the entire royal arena when the royal guards held Huan Chuyu and others hostage, but this type of blockade was obviously not a problem for this person. Bailey Hongzhuang looked at the series of changes around her, and an icy look appeared in her eyes. The royal family of the Qingshao Kingdom is really shameless. Bailey Hongzhuang sneered, but her mind was racing. She has now become an intolerable presence for the royal family of the Qingshao Kingdom. If she puts up a fight, the entire Kanglin Academy will be under the control of the royal family of Qingshao Kingdom. Nangong Oi wanted to use this method to force her to submit, but she would not fall for such a trap. She understood the methods of the royal family very well. Even if she died in this competition arena today, Nangong Oi would not let the people of Kanglin Academy leave. Bailey Hongzhuang can conclude that the result will be that everyone will die here. No one will be able to return to Kanglin Academy alive. That is what is so disgusting about the royal family. In the next moment, Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes fell on Nangong Aochen. Now there is only one way left, holding Nangong Aochen hostage. With Nangong Aochen's status in Qingshao Kingdom, as long as she holds Nangong Aochen hostage, they may have the possibility of leaving. Chapter 864, Bewitching Prince Spoils His Wife, Genius Dr. Unscrupulous Consort Hongzhuang, good job. This hateful royal family, I must end this Qingshao Kingdom royal family afterwards. Xiao He was so angry that he couldn't control himself. The royal family of the Qingshao Kingdom was able to be shameless to this extent, not hesitating to use such a method to persecute a student. There was no dignity won in this royal family. Bailey Hongzhuang didn't lose her composure because of this. The situation can only be resolved if she calms down. Xiao He, Xiao Bai, I will pretend to fight later, but in my condition it will be difficult to subdue Nangong Aochen. You two must remember to create a storm. We will hold Nangong Aochen hostage as quickly as possible. Listening to this, Xiao He and Xiao Bai nodded repeatedly. They understood the seriousness of the current situation. They must hit it with one blow, otherwise their situation could become extremely dangerous. With their strength, it shouldn't be difficult to take their master away, but if they put the entire Kanglin Academy team in danger, they feared their master would blame herself. Therefore, they cannot let their master feel such sorrow. After Nangong Aochen heard the sarcasm from Bailey Hongzhuang, his face revealed some ugliness. In fact, he originally wanted to end his battle with Bailey Hongzhuang in a devastating manner. Only, he didn't expect Bailey Hongzhuang's combat effectiveness to be so strong that he even suffered serious injuries. This was a disgrace. The royal family simply could not tolerate such a failure, so the royal father took action. Nangong Aochen quickly recovered from his previous frustration. No matter what, history is written by the winner. Bailey Hongzhuang and others are just a stepping stone for him, he absolutely would not care. When you dare to insult the dignity of the royal family, you should be prepared to bear the consequences. Nangong Aochen looked at Bailey Hongzhuang with an icy expression, a mere academy cultivator. Compared to the royal family, her power is too weak. Ordinary people cannot afford to offend members of the royal family, but unfortunately Bailey Hongzhuang understood this too late. He hoped she will not make the same mistake when she reincarnates in her next life. Hearing Nangong Aochen's words, the mockery in Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes intensified. Isn't it just a royal family? You really think you're so great? Just based on your appearance, I am sure that the royal family of Qingshao Kingdom will be destroyed sooner or later. With Bailey Hongzhuang's words, the crowd gasped in a cold breath of air. This Bailey Hongzhuang really has a death wish. Bailey Hongzhuang dares to say such things. Isn't this suicide? However, right after Bailey Hongzhuang said this, there was a burst of applause. Everyone looked at the source of the sound, and saw that all the students of Kanglin Academy, including Huan Chuyu, were applauding. Xia Jiqing and the others had determined expressions on their faces. Since they began embarking on the path of the cultivator, they were prepared to lose their lives. The strength of Qingshao Kingdom's royal family has exceeded their expectations, but they are not cowards, and they will not let Bailey Hongzhuang risk everything alone. People will inevitably die either for a serious matter, or for something unimportant. 2. They can already guess the end result, so in that case, why not be bold? They will die anyway, so they will naturally not make it easy for the Qingshao Kingdom's royal family. Hongzhuang, great job. Xia Jiqing said with a smile. Chapter 865, Bewitching Prince Spoils His Wife, Genius Doctor and Scrupulous Consort to Hell with Everything. What a shitty royal family and shitty prince, let them go to hell. Bai Junyu shouted. Cui Haoyan had an expression that showed he had nothing to lose. His name one was originally saved by Bailey Hongzhuang. Being able to live so much longer is already enough. The mood of the crowd also gradually changed when they saw the cultivators of Kanglin Academy so united. It must be said that the response of the Kanglin Academy students is really contagious, even they feel that the royal family has gone too far. Xiao Lanmei's eyes swept over everyone in Kanglin Academy. Perhaps the previous events did not show the extent of the cohesiveness of Kanglin Academy. However, when this crisis broke out, this was completely revealed. He believed that if this scenario occurred in Beihai Academy, the students of Beihai Academy would definitely let Bailey Hongzhuang die in exchange for the possibility of survival. This is the gap between the students of the two academies. After seeing the attitude of Xia Jiqing and the others, a faint smile appeared in Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes. It is precisely because of this group of companions that she must fight as hard as she could. In the next moment, Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes fell on Nangong Aochen. As you said, Bai Shi cannot participate in the battle. Let's continue our competition. Seeing Bailey Hongzhuang's indomitable look, a ripple appeared in Nangong Aochen's eyes, but the White Lion's inability to participate in the battle was exactly what he wanted. With his current strength, he can still deal with Bailey Hongzhuang, but against the Red Realm 5th level White Lion, he cannot do anything. I admire your courage, let's start. Nangong Aochen said with a faint smile. Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes narrowed slightly, and her figure flew directly towards Nangong Aochen. The yuan energy in her body surged out, and her martial arts skills immediately became unspeakable. Boom! A shocking explosion sounded as Xiao He and Xiao Bai cooperated seamlessly to create the explosion. This kind of thing was very simple for the two of them, who fear the world would not be chaotic too. The crowd saw the smoke-filled sky, and did not understand what happened in that short period of time. It stands to reason that in such a short period of time, even if Bailey Hongzhuang played her best, it would not be possible to cause such fluctuations immediately. What's going on here? Bailey Hongzhuang still has such strength? The scene just now happened too fast that I don't know what happened. No matter what Bailey Hongzhuang does, it's useless. The people of Kanglin Academy will definitely die. The crowd was no longer worried about the final result, because this ending was already predetermined. Only Mo Yunjue, who was in the stands, saw Bailey Hongzhuang's actions, and a look of appreciation flashed in his eyes. The situation erupted too quickly. Even he hadn't clearly seen how Bailey Hongzhuang caused this fluctuation. However, he understood that Bailey Hongzhuang had only one purpose for causing such fluctuations, to hold Nangong Aochen hostage. This was the only way out of the current situation. Only by holding Nangong Aochen hostage, could there be a glimmer of life. This woman, even in such a dangerous situation, remained indifferent even when facing humiliation, which is really an amazing psychological quality. Nangong Aochen only felt the smoke and dust blocking his vision. When he reacted, he felt a cold touch on his neck. Hostage, Bailey Hongzhuang. Bailey Hongzhuang, you are only seeking your own death by doing this. Nangong Aochen forcibly suppressed the horror in his heart. He couldn't believe that Bailey Hongzhuang still had such power. If Bailey Hongzhuang had exploded with such power before, he would not have been Bailey Hongzhuang's opponent at all. I, Bailey Hongzhuang, have never been in the business of losing. If I am going to die, I must take someone with me. Burying a crown prince with me should be considered good. Bailey Hongzhuang's voice was cold, and a pill appeared in her hands. She immediately stuffed it into Nangong Aochen's mouth. Gudong, one Nangong Aochen, who was being held hostage, couldn't resist at all. Before he realized it, he had already swallowed the pill. What did you do to me? A look of panic flashed across Nangong Aochen's face. Knowing Bailey Hongzhuang's identity as an alchemist, he was sure that what Bailey Hongzhuang had given him was definitely not a good thing. When you decided to threaten me with the lives of my teammates, you should have also been prepared to bear my wrath. I, Bailey Hongzhuang, have always persevered and will retaliate. As long as I don't die today, the royal family of Qingshao Kingdom will definitely be destroyed by my hands. Bailey Hongzhuang's voice was full of unconcealable arrogance and determination. The actions of Qingshao Kingdom's royal family, restraining Xia Jiqing and the others, had touched her bottom line. She couldn't bear it at all. Nangong Aochen's heart turned cold for no reason. Logically speaking, with Bailey Hongzhuang's strength alone, it would be impossible to have any influence on Qingshao Kingdom's huge royal family. However, he had a hunch that Bailey Hongzhuang really had such power. After smoke and dust dissipated slowly, everyone could clearly see the situation on the competition arena. It's just that when everyone saw the situation, their eyes couldn't help but change a few times. Bailey Hongzhuang actually took Nangong Aochen hostage. How is this possible? Bailey Hongzhuang is already seriously injured. She should not be the match of His Highness the Crown Prince. Could it be that Bailey Hongzhuang wants to use this method to free the people of Kanglin Academy the Royal Guard's control? When the crowd saw Bailey Hongzhuang's move, they had a feeling of admiration for Bailey Hongzhuang. Never giving up even after knowing that the situation was hopeless, perhaps she didn't fight so desperately for herself. After seeing Bailey Hongzhuang holding Nangong Aochen hostage, Xia Jiqing and the others were amazed. It was hard for them to imagine how Bailey Hongzhuang could do this after being seriously injured. At this moment Bailey Hongzhuang was a well-deserved hero in their hearts. Fuck it, I'm going to fight. Cui Haoyan's eyes were reddened. Bailey Hongzhuang made it this far, they couldn't let her down. The Yuanli and Gong Shaoqing and the others surged in an instant. Maybe their final outcome cannot be changed, but it would be good to cause some damage to the royal family. How is this possible? Nangong Yuer looked at Bailey Hongzhuang in disbelief. The clothes at Bailey Hongzhuang's ribs were now completely stained red with blood, which showed how serious Bailey Hongzhuang's injury was. However, under such circumstances, Bailey Hongzhuang was able to hold Nangong Aochen hostage, which was really unexpected. It was hard for her to imagine how Bailey Hongzhuang did it. Nangong Yujin also fell into silence, but there was some excitement in his eyes. If Nangong Aochen died. TL/N1 sound effect, like splash. In this case, I think swallow. I'll give you 10 seconds. After seeing this scene, Nangong Oi's usually calm face changed slightly. Jian Qingqiu's expression became extremely ugly. The final of this year's Academy Exchange competition had completely exceeded the scope of his control. He understands the methods of the royal family. The royal family wants to wipe out the Kanglan Academy's team this time, but this is not what he wanted to do. And now that Bailey Hongzhuang has taken Nangong Aochen hostage, the situation has become even more intractable. And he now seems to have lost the right to speak up, and everything is beyond his control. Bailey Hongzhuang's gaze fell on Nangong Oe, and everyone gasped once more. Old man, if you want the life of your successor, let them go. Old man. Bailey Hongzhuang actually called Nangong Oe old man. This is really asking to die. Nangong Oe looked at Bailey Hongzhuang indifferently, and the words he said were also full of infinite majesty. Release the prince immediately, otherwise, the students of Kanglan Academy will perish one by one because of your actions. Nangong Oe's eyes rippled with certainty. As soon as Bailey Hongzhuang said the first sentence, he already knew her weakness. If Bailey Hongzhuang had taken Nangong Oe hostage for her own escape, he might have had any choice. However, if Bailey Hongzhuang wanted to protect the safety of everyone in Kanglan Academy, he had more leverage in his hands. A student is a student, and they are always too inexperienced. Ah. Hearing this, Bailey Hongzhuang chuckled softly, and in the next second, the arc of her lips became slightly colder, a dazzling and frightening brilliance bloomed in her pitch-black phoenix eyes. I'm not discussing with you, I'm ordering you. Old guys like Nangong Oe just don't know when to stop. They think they are invincible when they have leverage. However, she is not the kind of idiot Nangong Oe had seen before. I will give you some time to think about it. I will break a tendon in Nangong Aochen's hand every second. You have 10 seconds. She hasn't done this kind of thing in a long time. However, both Nangong Aochen and Nangong Oe made her feel sick from the bottom of her heart. She wanted these selfish guys to understand the price they have to pay. As a doctor, she has hundreds of ways to torture Nangong Aochen. After Bailey Hongzhuang's voice fell, everyone was stunned. They didn't realize that Bailey Hongzhuang was such a ruthless woman. They couldn't associate such cruel words with the exquisite and perfect person in front of them. However, the trace of seriousness reflected in Bailey Hongzhuang's eyebrows and eyes clearly told everyone that she was not joking. Nangong Oe's face was gloomy. If you dare to do this, I will kill the practitioners of Kanglan Academy. Ah! Just after Nangong Oe finished speaking, Nangong Aochen let out a heartbreaking scream. Not for any other reason than because Bailey Hongzhuang had already broken one of his tendons. Bailey Hongzhuang's move was undoubtedly a slap in the face of Nangong Oe. All these threats were useless against her. Because she will make Nangong Oe regret it even more. Ruthless, Bailey Hongzhuang. Nangong Aochen endured the severe pain from his hands and looked at Bailey Hongzhuang in horror. He couldn't believe that Bailey Hongzhuang actually dared to do this. Doesn't she know that all the control is now in the hands of the royal family? All of Bailey Hongzhuang's actions now are just going to make her end even more miserable. Everyone was shocked by Bailey Hongzhuang's determination and ruthlessness. They had never seen a student who could be so ruthless, which made people panic. Only Mo Yinjue's eyes flashed with excitement. Only such a woman is suitable for him. Such courage and such means are really amazing. Even if he wanted to help Bailey Hongzhuang and her team leave here safely, it would not be easy, but as long as his people came, all these problems would be solved. Before that, however, he also wanted to know what Bailey Hongzhuang planned to do. And Bailey Hongzhuang's current performance was enough to amaze him. 9. Ah! Another scream rang out as Bailey Hongzhuang mercilessly cut another tendon of Nangong Aochen's hand. However, despite Nangong Aochen's immense pain, Bailey Hongzhuang's expression did not change at all. It was as if this was just a normal thing for her. Bailey Hongzhuang looked at Nangong Oe with a light smile. It seems that you don't care much about this prince. After sweeping her gaze across Nangong Oe and Nangong Aochen, Bailey Hongzhuang nodded. That's right, your son is not only Nangong Aochen. If he dies, it's not a big deal to train another one. How about this? With Bailey Hongzhuang chuckling, all the tendons in Nangong Aochen's right hand were severed by her. As a doctor, she understands all of these things very well, and she can easily break all the tendons in Nangong Aochen's hands. For an old man like Nangong Oi, one who claims to be smart, she can only use such tactics to win this game. Under such severe pain, Nangong Aochen's whole body convulsed. Now Bailey Hongzhuang is like a devil in his eyes. He thinks that he is already very ruthless, but compared to Bailey Hongzhuang, he still feels that there is a big gap between them. Not only Nangong Aochen, but everyone looked at Bailey Hongzhuang in amazement. They couldn't believe that the young Bailey Hongzhuang could do such a thing. It's really amazing. Xia Jiqing and the others were also completely stunned. This whole time, they only thought that Bailey Hongzhuang was tolerant and easy to get along with, but they had never seen such a Bailey Hongzhuang. Perhaps such ruthlessness would chill others, but they were very touched. The reason why Bailey Hongzhuang did this was entirely on their behalf, because they did not have enough strength. Otherwise, Bailey Hongzhuang would not have fallen into such a situation. At this moment, Nangong Oi could no longer remain calm. He has quite a few sons, but Nangong Aochen is his most promising heir to the throne. No one else can compare with Nangong Aochen. This is a loss that the royal family cannot afford. In his opinion, this Bailey Hongzhuang is simply a lunatic. It's just that Bailey Hongzhuang is a lowlife. If Nangong Aochen loses because of Bailey Hongzhuang, it is not a good outcome. TL/N1 text actually says Aochen, but I think the author made a mistake since Aochen isn't old. Seeking death, Mo Yinjue. At this moment, Nangong Yujin was just rejoicing that the person being held hostage by Bailey Hongzhuang was not himself. Who would have thought that Nangong Aochen, who was normally always proud, would experience this today? This tactic is really too cruel. Bailey Hongzhuang, do you know the consequences of what you are doing? Nangong Oi's gaze fell on Bailey Hongzhuang, his eyes were full of anger. As the emperor of Qingshao Kingdom, he was now trying to negotiate with a student. It was simply beyond contemptible. Get to the point. In response to the aura created by Nangong Oi, Bailey Hongzhuang only coldly returned these words. The royal family and others just like to say a lot of such nonsense. Doesn't it save a lot of time to just get to the point? Do you really think that you will be able to leave Qingshao Kingdom alive if you hold Nangong Aochen hostage? All your friends will be implicated because of your foolish behavior. Nangong Oi stood up, and the emperor's chi burst out. He will kill Bailey Hongzhuang. Master, just now, a strong breath locked on us. Xiao He frowned slightly. This breath didn't exist at all before. He thinks this person just appeared. Hearing this, Bailey Hongzhuang's phoenix eyes also flashed with a touch of coldness. She saw that the previous Nangong Oi had clearly weakened, so why did he become stronger again at this moment? We don't need you to worry about us. Xia Jiqing said angrily, what kind of emperor of Qingshao Kingdom threatens a group of students? It's really shameless. Nangong Oi's eyes were as sharp as knives, and he looked at Xia Jiqing fiercely. It's just that Xia Jiqing has always been a simple-minded individual. Nangong Oi's eyes can scare others but not her. Xiao He, are you capable of dealing with this person? Bailey Hongzhuang asked. As Qingshao Kingdom is a big country, the power of the royal family, needless to say, is bound to have some extremely powerful perverts. Even if Nangong Aochen is in her hands, these old guys will still have a way to rescue Nangong Aochen. This should be an old monster with strong strength. There may be a chance if we join forces with the black and white double evil. Xiao He said solemnly. Bailey Hongzhuang's phoenix eyes narrowed slightly. Being able to make Xiao He and Xiao Bai so cautious is enough to prove how abnormal this old guy's strength is. Speaking of which, she still underestimated the shamelessness of Qingshao Kingdom's royal family, otherwise she would have made some preparations earlier, and the situation would not have ended up like this. In that case, it seems we can only fight. Bailey Hongzhuang's hands flashed in with a determined radiance. She would never choose to give up. Bailey Hongzhuang, die. Nangong Oi looked into midair. Now that things have come to a head, they cannot continue to delay, as Nangong Aochen's hand also needed to be treated as soon as possible. At Nangong Oi's words, everyone felt an extremely tyrannical force erupt, followed by a figure who quickly flew towards Bailey Hongzhuang with a strong killing intent. Mo Yinjue's eyes froze suddenly, and when this murderous intent appeared, Mo Yinjue's figure also turned into a black light and rushed out. Bailey Hongzhuang is the woman Mo Yinjue has his eyes on, and if anyone wants to kill Bailey Hongzhuang, they have to get through him first. Seeking death. Mo Yinjue's eyes flashed with a bloodly light. The royal family of Qingshao Kingdom clearly knew the extraordinary relationship between Bailey Hongzhuang and him and still dared to do this. It seems that their power during this period of time has made them forget how much strength they actually have themselves. TL/N1 This sentence actually says, coldly return these 3 words, but I translated them into 4, but in Chinese it's 3 characters. Who dares to touch my wife? Bailey Hongzhuang could only feel a ferocious aura locked onto her, and she couldn't resist with her current strength. However, just as Xiao He and Xiao Bai were about to make a move, someone was already in front of Bailey Hongzhuang blocking. Who dares to touch my wife? A deep and furious voice sounded, revealing the same domineering and decisiveness as before. Just one sentence revealed unspeakable power. Who dares touch her? A cold, chilly voice rang out, filled with a kind of threat and pressure that penetrated deep into the marrow, causing people to feel chills down their backs. These 2 voices sounded almost at the same time, and 2 proud and upright figures, one gold and one black, had already stood in front of Bailey Hongzhuang. Boom! The 2 of them slammed their palms against that person at lightning speed, and everyone only saw a wave of energy rippling away. This kind of powerful strike is much more terrifying than the fight between academy students. Bailey Hongzhuang stared in astonishment at the 2 figures in front of her. Her exquisite face was full of surprise and disbelief. Bewitching, the one in a pale gold color, looked at Bailey Hongzhuang. The brutality and anger turned into tenderness and pampering the moment he saw Bailey Hongzhuang. However, when Bewitching's gaze fell on Bailey Hongzhuang's blood-stained clothes, an uncontrollable indignation swept wildly across his heart again. Who did it? The deep and oppressive voice swept through like a boundless storm. He went back to the sect because of an incident and hurried back after solving it. From He Mu's mouth, he learned that Bailey Hongzhuang had come to Qingshao Kingdom to attend the Academy exchange meeting, so he rushed over quickly. The closer he got to the royal arena, the more the uneasiness in his heart intensified. Unexpectedly, there was a royal guard guarding the door, so he rushed in without hesitation. However, when he saw the situation in the martial arts arena clearly, his heart was almost broken. With just a glance from his eyes, Bewitching already understood what happened. Huan Chuyu and the team from Kanglin Academy were taken hostage unexpectedly, leaving only Bailey Hongzhuang holding the prince hostage to confront Nangong Oi on the martial arts arena. You don't need to think about it to know that Bailey Hongzhuang was forced to do it. These guys from Qingshao Kingdom are so shameless, and the whole country's power was used to deal with a team from Kanglin Academy. Nangong Aochen's heart shuddered. The power exuded by this man in front of him was almost stronger than his father. He had always felt that his strength is unrivaled among young people. It wasn't until he fought with Bailey Hongzhuang that he realized that this woman younger than him had such tyrannical strength. However, after seeing the man in front of him, he was even more shocked. Because, when facing this man, he had a feeling that he couldn't compare with him. This Bewitching. Who the hell is he? A reassured smile appeared on her pale face, and Bailey Hongzhuang, whose body had been tightly wounded, relaxed a little bit after seeing Bewitching. Although the situation in front of her is still bad, as long as Bewitching is there, she can feel at ease. Bailey Hongzhuang shook her head slightly. This matter is a long story, first solve the most immediate problem first. At the same time, Bewitching's gaze fell on Mo Yinjue. This man's strength shocked him. At such an age with such strength, he is definitely not an ordinary person. TL/N1 TL/N, yay! He's back! Chapter 871, Bewitching Prince spoils his wife. genius Dr. Unscrupulous Consort Mo Yinjue was surprised for a moment when he saw Di Baichen appear, but he recovered his indifference in the blink of an eye. Bailey Hongzhuang was in such a dangerous situation. If Di Baichen hadn't appeared, then he was really unqualified to be a husband. The eyes of Di Baichen and Mo Yinjue collided for a moment, and Di Baichen immediately realized that he had a powerful love rival. Mo Yinjue's eyes did not hide his fondness for Bailey Hongzhuang at all, and that faint provocation was unbearable to Di Baichen. Bailey Hongzhuang was equally astonished by Mo Yinjue's attack. Mo Yinjue's assistance was rare before, but Mo Yinjue was now hostile towards the royal family for her. This was a totally different notion. The first Tower 1 was built in the imperial city, and Mo Yinjue angering the royal family of Qingshao Kingdom at this moment was equivalent to a huge loss to himself. At that moment, Bailey Hongzhuang finally understood what Mo Yinjue had done. Mo Yinjue, Bailey Hongzhuang said slowly. She couldn't say anything other than thank you. However, before Bailey Hongzhuang finished speaking, Mo Yinjue raised his hand to stop her. What he wanted wasn't Bailey Hongzhuang's gratitude. After seeing the sudden appearance of Di Baichen and Mo Yinjue, all the people present were filled with amazement. At the critical moment, there were two heroes who saved the beauty. The most important thing is that these two young people joined forces to fight against the royal master's palm attack and they were still unharmed. Isn't that the boss from the first tower? I've heard that Bailey Hongzhuang is Mo Yinjue's wife, and now it seems to be true. No, isn't it the man in the light golden brocade robe who claims that Bailey Hongzhuang is his wife? What's going on? The crowd was completely dumbfounded. Whether it was Di Baichen or Mo Yinjue, taking action at such a time was enough to prove the status of Bailey Hongzhuang in their hearts. But, are these two people both Bailey Hongzhuang's husband? Di Baichen's hearing too shifted slightly, and he heard the chatter from the crowd. His eyes flashed a cold light and he looked at Mo Yinjue again, his expression changing a bit. Damn it! What did this guy do in his absence? Di Baichen was furious. If he knew this would happen, he would have left with Hongzhuang, and she would not have fallen into such a situation. Compared to the storm in Di Baichen's heart, Mo Yinjue seemed very calm. However, Di Baichen also knew that now was not the time to dwell on this. It is the Qingshao Kingdom's royal family that was their biggest problem. What's more, he has enough trust in Hongzhuang, and believed that it was only Mo Yinjue's one-sided thoughts. When Xia Jiqing and the others saw Di Baichen appear, their eyes couldn't help but show excitement. Di Baichen was the one with the highest level person among all of them. Even though the Qingshao Kingdom was a large country, the strength of the Tiangang sect was even greater. Nangong Oyi absolutely did not dare take action against the young master of the Tiangang sect. After Nangong Yuer saw Mo Yinjue and Di Baichen standing in front of Bailey Hongzhuang together, intense jealousy engulfed her heart. How dare Bailey Hongzhuang have one foot in two boats? Against all reason, these two guys seemed to be willing to do anything for Bailey Hongzhuang. Why? What had Bailey Hongzhuang done to deserve this? TL/N1TL/N, seen back in chapters 677 to 678 2 TL/N, weird, the word is actually earlobes, is there such a phrase? Chapter 872, Bewitching Prince spoils his wife, genius Dr. Unscrupulous Consort, strength is not bad. A deep, hoarse voice sounded, and only then did the crowd notice that at some point an old man stood beside Nangong Oyi. The withered old man exuded the aura of dying, but his eyes were unusually bright, not at all like a dying old man. This old man was obviously the one who attacked Bailey Hongzhuang earlier. Di Baichen's gaze met Nangong Oyi and the others, his handsome and extraordinary face was filled with an extremely glacial coldness. No matter who these guys are, anyone who dares to hurt his wife is his enemy. After Nangong Oyi saw Mo Yinjue's strike, his calm eyes also fluctuated, revealing his incredulity. He has a certain understanding of how powerful Mo Yinjue is, but the other party is unfathomable, so even he doesn't know anything. He also had some understanding of the fact that Mo Yinjue and Bailey Hongzhuang were close, but in his opinion, it was just a woman, and Mo Yinjue could not have turned against the royal family for a woman. However, the situation in front of him clearly proved that his belief was wrong. Unexpectedly, this Mo Yinjue turned out to be this infatuated. It was not wise to be an enemy of the royal family for Bailey Hongzhuang. In the next second, Nangong Oi's gaze fell on Di Beichen. It was the first time he has seen Di Beichen, but he didn't dare underestimate him. The aura exuded by this young man was astonishing. As the monarch of a country, he knows very well that this kind of aura is not something that ordinary people can have. Only those in high positions can have it. Di Beichen's temperament, power, and strength all revealed his exceptional existence. This is definitely a person that cannot be ignored. "Who are you?" Nangong Oi asked. For a moment, everyone's eyes were fixed on Di Beichen. They also wanted to know the identity of this man who suddenly appeared. Di Beichen looked at Nangong Oi indifferently, and opened his thin lips lightly. "Tiangang sect, Di Beichen." Tiangang sect. When everyone heard the name Tiangang sect, their eyes were full of shock. That is an extremely powerful force in the Xingxian continent. Anyone who can become a disciple of the Tiangang sect is a real dragon and phoenix among men. The young man in front of him turned out to be a disciple of Tiangang sect. Nangong Oi's pupils shrank. While everyone was shocked by the name Tiangang sect, what shocked him was the name, Di Beichen. Di Beichen. He had heard of this name before, but he didn't expect to hear it here today. Di Beichen, the young master of the Tiangang sect, a well-deserved young hero. Although Nangong Aochen is strong, it is only within the scope of Qingshao Kingdom, and it was not worth mentioning compared with the real geniuses of the Xingxian continent like Di Beichen. An ordinary Kanglin Academy student, turned out to be the wife of the young master of the Tiangang sect? What is this? Nangong Oi couldn't believe it. Could it be that today's sects don't have the slightest respect for lineage? Although Bailey Hongzhuang's strength is very outstanding, if she wanted to become Di Beichen's wife, she doesn't have the qualifications yet. Nangong Oi didn't doubt Di Beichen's identity. Di Beichen's demeanor alone proved everything, but it was a bit more than he could have imagined. "I'm going to leave with the people from Kanglin Academy now." Chapter 873, Bewitching Prince Spoils His Wife. Genius Dr. Unscrupulous Consort. Di Beichen's voice was arrogant and could not be denied. Even when facing the emperor of Qingshao Kingdom, his attitude was still domineering. Today's situation is not something you can escape. At that moment, the old man with the withered appearance had already opened his mouth. He was very dissatisfied with what Nangong Oi had caused this time. According to the rules of the royal family, one should not act without absolute certainty. The situation has now deadlocked, and it is impossible to offend Tiangang sect. But if everyone in Kanglin Academy is let go, the reputation of the Qingshao Kingdom's royal family will be dealt a huge blow. Nangong Oi obviously understood the impact of this incident, but he never thought that Bailey Hongzhuang would have anything to do with the young master of Tiangang sect. "Oh?" The corners of Di Beichen's mouth once again showed an evil smile, but the coldness and chill in his eyes became more and more terrifying. "If anything happens to my wife, I will make the entire Qingshao Kingdom be buried with her." As soon as these words came out, everyone was shocked. What is the identity of this Di Beichen? If he is just an ordinary disciple of the Tiangang sect, he would not dare say such a thing. The eyes of the crowd flickered with incredulity. The Qingshao Kingdom is so huge, even if the Tiangang sect is a bigger existence, it would be impossible to achieve this by relying on Di Beichen alone. Di Beichen, this name is so familiar. Where have I heard it? Nangong Yuer kept thinking in her mind. She always felt that she had heard this name before, but for a while she couldn't recall it. Suddenly, Nangong Yuer's eyes froze, and a look of disbelief appeared in her eyes. The young sect master of Tiangang sect, Di Beichen. A feeling of disbelief spread in Nangong Yuer's heart. How could such a superior existence appear here? Bailey Hongzhuang turned out to be his wife. How could this be possible? As we all know, Di Beichen, the young master of the Tiangang sect, is Prince Charming in the hearts of all women. How many people had wishful dreams, even her status is not worthy of Di Baichen. But an ordinary commoner like Bailey Hongzhuang can win Di Baichen's heart. Nangong Yuer's voice unconsciously raised a bit as she said this in horror. After hearing Nangong Yuer, the faces of the people who were confused at first changed suddenly, and their puzzled expressions turned into deep horror. The young master of the Tiangang sect. Such a superior existence appeared here unexpectedly. At that moment, no one doubted the weight of Di Baichen's words. With his strength, he could destroy the entire Qingshao kingdom. However, the royal family still dared to say such words. Are they crazy? The old man obviously did not expect Di Baichen's attitude to be so resolute. Just this sentence from Di Baichen was enough to prove the weight of Bailey Hongzhuang in his heart. Mo Yinjue also looked at Di Baichen beside him. He was no stranger to Di Baichen. Since long ago, the name Di Baichen has been shrouded in a halo. Not only that, he also understood how Di Baichen ended up with Bailey Hongzhuang. In fact, he didn't care about the others, but Di Baichen's vision is indeed good. Is the golden unicorn a thing in a pool? Once the situation changes, Bailey Hongzhuang's future will definitely not be limited by a trifling identity. In the future, Bailey Hongzhuang will definitely shine like a pearl, and he, too, will not let go. TL/N1 My guess is this is a saying meaning, can a superior person be limited by its environment? Chapter 874, Bewitching Prince Spoils His Wife. Genius Dr. Unscrupulous Consort Xia Jiqing and the others watched this scene in shock, their eyes filled with amazement. Domineering. Di Baichen is really too domineering. In front of the emperor of Qingshao Kingdom, no one except Di Baichen would be able to say such a thing. It seemed that since the appearance of Di Baichen, the situation that was originally tense and impossible to solve seemed to be less scary. The woman in white on the competition stage was so domineering and ruthless before, but since the appearance of Di Baichen, her eyes reflected a touch of tenderness. Bailey Hongzhuang is their hero, and Di Baichen is Bailey Hongzhuang's hero. Nangong Oi's gaze fell on Bailey Hongzhuang's injuries. He understood that the reason why Di Baichen was so anxious at this moment was entirely because of Bailey Hongzhuang. It was clear in his heart that no matter what, Bailey Hongzhuang could not have an accident today. Otherwise, before the huge Tiangang sect, even the royal family of Qingshao Kingdom is nothing. However, in the current situation, they really have way out. If Di Baichen and others were allowed to leave like this, even if they completely blocked the news, many people would still know about it. There is no impregnable wall in this world. As the next monarch of Qingshao Kingdom, Nangong Aochen originally wanted to use the Academy Exchange meeting as an opportunity to let everyone know how powerful he was to lay a good foundation for his ascension to the throne. However, now, Nangong Aochen was not only defeated by a woman whose strength was 2 levels weaker than him, but even had his tendons broken in public. For Nangong Aochen, this was definitely a great shame. Even Nangong Oi was extremely depressed at that moment. In the past, Kanglin Academy had always been the subject of abuse. Why did Di Baichen's wife stay in the Kanglin Academy to cultivate and participate in the competition on behalf of the Kanglin Academy? It's no wonder that Bailey Hongzhuang's previous performance was so amazing. It is impossible for her to be the beloved of Di Baichen if she was not strong. Di Baichen immediately hugged Bailey Hongzhuang in his arms, with a careful look at Bailey Hongzhuang as if she was a peerless treasure, for fear of accidentally hurting her. All the women present admired Di Baichen after they discovered his identity. Seeing Di Baichen, with such a noble identity, treating Bailey Hongzhuang so tenderly, their envy of Bailey Hongzhuang reached an extreme peak. This Bailey Hongzhuang is too happy, right? If I could be held in Di Baichen's arms, it would be worth 10 years of my life. I thought that Bailey Hongzhuang was extraordinary from the very beginning. Bailey Hongzhuang's identity is so extraordinary. The people who originally felt that it was impossible for Bailey Hongzhuang to be both a cultivator and a pharmacist, and at the same time be very accomplished in inscriptions, now understood Bailey Hongzhuang's identity. Got it. There are always some special geniuses in this world that cannot be compared against ordinary people. Nangong Yue looked at Bailey Hongzhuang, who was held in Di Beichen's arms. Her 5 fingers were tightly closed and her nails were deeply embedded in her palm. She didn't realize it was dripping blood. Drip drip. Blood dripped on the ground. Nangong Yue had never been so jealous of someone in her life. She had liked Imo Yinjue for so long, but he had always been indifferent towards her. Now Imo Yinjue is taking such good care of Bailey Hongzhuang and she was already married. Could it be that in Imo Yinjue's heart, she can't even compare to a married woman? Chapter 875, Bewitching Prince Spoils His Wife. Genius Dr. Unscrupulous Consort. Di Beichen's gaze fell on Nangong Oyi and the others. If Qingshao Kingdom really wants to perish, then so be it. After he finished speaking, Di Beichen didn't even look at Nangong Oyi and the others, and walked off the competition arena with Bailey Hongzhuang in his arms. If a mere Qingshao Kingdom dares to stop him, they will be seeking death. He understood that the attitude of Nangong Oyi and others was just to give themselves a way to save face. But, he just won't give it. As a strong person, there was no need for him to consider the feelings of the weak. Qingshao Kingdom's royal family dared to treat Bailey Hongzhuang like this, which has already aroused his anger, but now Hongzhuang's injury is the most important concern. He has to help Hongzhuang take care of her injuries first. As for the rest, we'll settle the scores later. As he turned around, Di Beichen's gaze collided with Imo Yinjue's for a moment. He naturally didn't have any good feelings for this man who coveted his wife, but no matter what, this man helped Hongzhuang, so he was still grateful. Understanding the meaning in Di Beichen's eyes, Imo Yinjue smiled faintly, and he shrugged indifferently. He clearly understood that his current situation was just taking the opportunity to take care of Bailey Hongzhuang when Di Beichen was not around. As for rest, it was not time yet. Nangong Oyi and others looked at Di Beichen's domineering behavior, and their expressions became extremely ugly. Indeed, with the strength of Tiangang's sect, there was no need to talk to them at all. Because strength is everything. After seeing Di Beichen's actions, Huan Chuyu also stood up immediately, glanced at Jian Qingqiu and Song Hongxi with cold eyes, turned around and decided to leave. From now on, Kanglin Academy, Lingyin Academy, and Beihai Academy have no connection at all. Huan Chuyu straightened his back, and his words were filled with freedom and spontaneity. He and Ren Tianxiong should have made this decision a long time ago, and now that he has said such a thing, he felt extremely relaxed. When Jian Qingqiu and Song Hongxi were enjoying all the benefits and glory brought by the royal family, they never realized that they had lost control over their academies. Perhaps, this feeling is not clear enough now, but it won't be long before they understand that they are simply puppets. It's a pity that they can't see the forest for the trees. Jian Qingqiu and Song Hongxi stared blankly at Huan Chuyu's leaving back, wanting to say something but couldn't. Faintly, they also felt some hints from the royal family of Qingshao Kingdom's actions this time, but this seems to be a situation that is difficult to change. After Gong Shaoqing and others saw that Huan Chuyu had gotten up and left, they no longer hesitated. They just wished they could leave this place as soon as possible. In such a greedy place, even the air reeks of decay. After seeing this scene, the royal guards couldn't help but look at Nangong Oyi on the high platform, only to see that Nangong Oyi's face was livid, but he didn't let them stop them. In fact, they don't dare stop them. Isn't that asking for death? When Di Beichen walked out of the royal arena with Bailey Hongzhuang in his arms, he realized that the royal guards who were blocking the outside had all been brought down at some point. Seeing this scene, there was a hint of understanding in everyone's eyes. Except for Imo Yinjue, I am afraid that no one else would do such a thing. TL/N1 This is my guess. What does the phrase really mean? Why is the phase sunset in there? Infatuation. Imo Yinjue at that moment, Gong Shaoqing and others also understood that earlier, Imo Yinjue hadn't been inactive. He had been helping everyone by cleaning up the situation outside. Imo Yinjue was willing to make an enemy of the entire royal family of Qingshao Kingdom for Bailey Hongzhuang. This alone is enough to prove Mo Yinjue's feelings for Bailey Hongzhuang. You go to the inn to stay first, I will go find Fu Hongbo and Dongfang Yu, and I will find you later. Lu Huayan said. Hearing this, everyone's expressions quietly changed a little, but soon returned to normal. Now that Di Beichen was here, even if Qingshao Kingdom's royal family knew where they were, they wouldn't dare do anything to them. They believed that Lu Huayan and others would be fine. After Di Beichen and his group left, Mo Yinjue gave Nangong Oui a cold, stern look, turned around, and walked down the competition stage with indifference. It seems that he never let Nangong Oui and others know how powerful he was over the years, so Nangong Oui and others thought that they were great. It was time for him to take action. The royal family clearly knew that he had an extraordinary relationship with Bailey Hongzhuang, but they still dared to do this. He has been too low-key. Feeling Mo Yinjue's gaze, Nangong Oui felt a chill. He had always known that Mo Yinjue was not an ordinary person, except that all this time, Mo Yinjue had always acted indifferently, until Bailey Hongzhuang appeared. He saw the cold and stern light in Mo Yinjue's eyes, and he suddenly realized that his decision was wrong. He always thought that to Mo Yinjue, Bailey Hongzhuang was just a beautiful woman. In this world, women have always been men's accessories. He believed that Mo Yinjue's interest in Bailey Hongzhuang was just a passing interest, and this kind of interest usually doesn't last long. It was absolutely impossible for Mo Yinjue to clash with the royal family because of Bailey Hongzhuang. Now it seems that things were completely different from what he had imagined. Mo Yinjue's concern for Bailey Hongzhuang exceeded his expectations. Bailey Hongzhuang was already married to someone else, yet Mo Yinjue was willing to do so much for her. He never knew that Mo Yinjue would be such a devoted suitor. Everyone watched as Mo Yinjue confidently left after making his move. Their expressions also changed slightly. Ever since Di Beichen appeared, all of their attention had been drawn to him. After all, they hardly ever got the chance to see someone like Di Beichen normally. Seeing Mo Yinjue leave so calmly at this moment, they finally realized that Mo Yinjue's identity was not simple. Nangong Yuer's gaze closely followed the tall and slender black figure, but Mo Yinjue never looked at her once. Huan Chuyu and the others returned to the inn where they previously stayed. Bailey Hongzhuang's injuries were very severe, with broken ribs, excessive blood loss, and after having confronted Nangong Aochen for so long, the exhaustion was understandable. Di Beichen put Bailey Hongzhuang on the bed, and Xia Jiqing and the others immediately went out to help Bailey Hongzhuang find a doctor. Although Bailey Hongzhuang is a genius doctor herself, it is impossible for her to heal herself in the situation in front of her. After everyone left, only Bailey Hongzhuang and Di Beichen were left in the room. Looking at the handsome face in front of her, Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes glimmered with a hint of joy and happiness. Her delicate and slender fingers slowly covered Di Beichen's face. You came. TL/N1 text actually says Nangong Oui, but she fought Aochen. Won't leave you looking at Bailey Hongzhuang's pale face. Di Beichen's eyes showed a deep heartache. I'm late. His deep words were filled with guilt and remorse. If he had returned earlier, Hongzhuang would not have been seriously injured. In other words, it was because he hadn't taken good care of Hongzhuang. Bailey Hongzhuang's right hand covered Di Beichen's tightly furrowed eyebrows, smoothing them out with a gentle smile spreading across her lips. It's my lack of thoroughness. It's not your problem. Don't blame yourself. So far, Di Beichen has helped her too many times. Almost every time a problem arises, Di Beichen helped her solve it. She doesn't want to always need the protection of Di Beichen. What she hopes is that one day she can stand confidently by his side, instead of being his weakness. No one expected what happened this time, and it had no connection to Di Beichen. She didn't want to see Di Beichen blame himself. As cultivators, everyone understands the risks they may encounter, and this is a perfectly normal thing. Di Beichen held Bailey Hongzhuang's hand tightly and nodded slightly, but his eyes were still filled with guilt and heartache. The actions taken by the royal family of Qingshao Kingdom this time may have exceeded everyone's expectations, but he believed that as long as he is by Hongzhuang's side, she will not fall into such a dangerous situation. From now on, I won't leave you. Di Beichen's eyes shone with a determined and persistent light. He had already made a decision: no matter what happens in the future, he will never be separated from Bailey Hongzhuang again. Hongzhuang didn't know that when he saw her standing on the competition stage covered in blood, her pale face and pitiful appearance almost made his heart stop. He was so afraid that if he had arrived a little later, Hongzhuang might disappear from his life. That was absolutely unacceptable to him. The offensive sight of blood deeply stabbed his heart. At that time, he only felt an indescribable rage and killing intent spread in his heart. If something happens to Hongzhuang, he will definitely let the whole Qingshao Kingdom be buried with him. Bailey Hongzhuang had a gentle and happy smile on her lips. She was already very happy to see Di Beichen back at this time. No matter when, Di Beichen will always be her hero, the only hero. Don't worry, I'll be fine. Bailey Hongzhuang's affection was reflected in her gaze. As a doctor, she had a certain understanding of her injuries. Although her ribs were broken, she didn't hurt her foundation. She appeared extremely weak because she lost a lot of blood due to the prolonged confrontation in the martial arts arena. Soon, the doctor arrived and was surprised when he saw Bailey Hongzhuang's injuries. He quickly began to treat her. It wasn't until Bailey Hongzhuang fell into a deep sleep that Di Beichen walked out of the room. Xia Jiqing and the others were all outside the door. Now that something like this happened, they were all very worried about Bailey Hongzhuang, and when they faced Di Beichen, they felt an unspeakable guilt in their hearts. With so many people in the royal martial arts arena, they still had to rely on the youngest, Bai Li Hongzhang, to block all the storms for them, which was really embarrassing and weak. Di Beichen, I'm sorry, we were so useless. Cui Haoyan's eyes were filled with guilt. Bailey Hongzhuang saved his life, but at that time, he had no way to help. Ruthless, Di Beichen. Not only Cui Haoyan, Gong Shaoqing and others also showed guilt on their faces. Normally, they are very successful in the academy, but since coming to Qingshao Kingdom, they discovered the gap between them and others. In front of this huge royal family, their power seemed so weak. Except for Bailey Hongzhuang's ability to confront Nangong Oi, they were completely under control. If it wasn't for Di Beichen's arrival, perhaps they would have to die today in the royal arena and never come out again. We are truly useless. Hongzhuang was seriously injured, yet she wanted to protect us. Xia Jiqing lowered her head. She knew that Hongzhuang's injuries must be very severe, and with the delay, it was very detrimental to Hongzhuang's injuries. Even though she has returned, when she thinks of the scene in the royal arena where they fought, she felt an indescribable anger and hatred in her heart. However, when facing Bailey Hongzhuang and Di Beichen, she only felt guilty. Di Beichen looked at the guilty expressions on everyone's faces and his expression softened a bit as he comforted them. This matter has exceeded everyone's expectations, you don't have to blame yourselves. Hearing Di Beichen's reassurance, the guilt in everyone's hearts did not dissipate. Today's scene really had an impact on them. No matter how arrogant they are, only after they have gone to a wider world could they understand the gap between them and those with great power. This huge gap simply cannot be crossed with just their own strength. Noticing the changes in everyone's expressions, Di Beichen did not say much. They will see the so-called reality sooner or later, and it is not a bad thing to understand it sooner. Once their mindset is completely transformed, their mindset will be more peaceful, and it will be more helpful for future growth. Everyone is already tired today, why don't you go to rest first? Di Beichen said slowly. After what happened today, everyone was tired both physically and mentally. After Bailey Hongzhuang's injuries improve a little, they will leave. He believed that the royal family of Qingshao Kingdom would immediately block today's news, but their continued stay in Qingshao Kingdom would attract the attention of interested people. Leaving earlier can also save some trouble. Everyone listened and nodded. They had already learned about Bailey Hongzhuang's condition from the doctor, and feared that she would need to rest for a while. Although the injuries were very serious, fortunately it did not hurt her foundation. As long as she was given a certain amount of time, she would be able to recover completely. After everyone left, a deep and fierce light appeared in Di Beichen's eyes. Nangong Aochen dared to hurt Hongzhuang to such an extent. He naturally couldn't watch Nangong Aochen become the heir to Qingshao Kingdom. Whoever dares to hurt Hongzhuang, he will not let go. It's just that it's still early. Once it is nighttime, he needs to go out to solve some issues. However, just as Di Beichen returned to the house, Huan Chuyu came to look for him. Vice Principal. Di Beichen poured a cup of tea for Huan Chuyu. Do you have something you need to tell me? Huan Chuyu looked deeply at Di Beichen, who has always been a clever person. Di Beichen's deep love for Bailey Hongzhuang also shocked him. How are Hongzhuang's injuries? Excessive blood loss, broken ribs, and some internal injuries, but they can recover after a period of recuperation. Di Beichen said slowly. Decision. Di Beichen's expression was calm and composed. He knew that Huan Chuyu was here to see him for a reason. It's just that Huan Chuyu didn't say anything, and he wasn't in a hurry. Huan Chuyu looked at Di Beichen's indifferent expression, and there was a gleam of admiration in his eyes. The young master of the Tiangang's sect is indeed not an ordinary person, just his bearing alone is not comparable to that of an ordinary young person. The royal family of the Qingshao Kingdom is heavily guarded. After what happened today, the entire royal family will definitely strengthen their patrols. They may have already set up a trap. Based on Huan Chuyu's understanding of Di Beichen would definitely not just stand by and watch Bailey Hongzhuang get hurt without doing anything. And if he could predict that, the royal family would naturally be able to predict it too. Today's events have already made the royal family of Qingshao Kingdom look bad, and now that something like this has happened, the royal family will definitely be more careful. It would be fine if Di Beichen was with members of the Tiangang sect, but if he went alone, the royal family might do something crazy. As Huan Chuyu's words fell, Di Beichen's expression changed slightly. To be able to become the vice principal of Kanglin Academy, Huan Chuyu's foresight is not ordinary. He understood that Huan Chuyu's reminder to him at this moment was only for his safety. Needless to say, it is an easy thing to crush the Qingshao Kingdom with the power of the entire Tiangang sect. However, right now he is only one person in Qingshao Kingdom, and it is undoubtedly very difficult for him to deal with the royal family by himself. Huan Chuyu noticed the change in Di Beichen's expression and knew that Di Beichen listened to his words. Bailey Hongzhuang still needs your care. After Huan Chuyu left this statement, he left calmly. He had already said everything he needed to say. As for what Di Beichen would do, it was up to his own decision. When they cross the border of Qingshao Kingdom, everything in Qingshao Kingdom will have nothing to do with them. Risking their lives is unnecessary. After Huan Chuyu left, Di Beichen drank all the tea up. Perhaps what Huan Chuyu said had some truth. But he was Di Beichen. He absolutely will not allow the person who hurt his wife to live in peace. From the moment they dared to treat Hongzhuang like that, this outcome was already destined. Night gradually descended, and the entire Qingshao Kingdom was shrouded in a layer of darkness. The atmosphere in the imperial city today seems different. All the people in the imperial city were very curious about the final result of the Academy Exchange competition. The Academy Exchange competition they watched 2 days ago was very enjoyable. The strength of the cultivators from the 3 major academies was not to be underestimated. Especially with the emergence of a dark horse like Bailey Hongzhuang from Kanglin Academy. They felt that today's finals was very exciting. Just as they eagerly awaited the final outcome, there was not a single word about the final match. All the people who watched the finals were silent, as if it was a big taboo, so much so that they didn't know anything about the finals. But the more the other party kept silent, the more they realized that there was something fishy going on. After all, previous Academy Exchange matches were not like this. What on earth happened? Everyone kept guessing, but there was no result. Di Beichen checked Bailey Hongzhuang's condition and saw that she was sleeping soundly. His gaze quietly fell out the window. The night was getting dark. Collision between love rivals. Bewitching covered Bailey Hongzhuang with the quilt and left a soft kiss on her forehead. The next moment, Bewitching disappeared from the room. Royal Palace. Bewitching flew swiftly through the night. He had already inquired about the location of the crown prince, and even with the multiple protections on the royal family, he felt as if killing Nangong Aochin would be as easy. However, just when Bewitching was about to arrive at the prince's bedroom, a black figure appeared not far from him. Seeing this black figure, Bewitching's eyes became darker and darker. He did not expect to meet Mo Yinjue here. It seems that the purpose of their trip tonight is the same. When Mo Yinjue saw Bewitching, the surprise in his eyes quickly disappeared, and he immediately revealed a faint smile. It seems that Bewitching has deep feelings for Bailey Hongzhuang. Even though the royal family of Qingshao Kingdom had lost face to him in front of everyone today, he still did not feel happy. So, he wanted to come and kill Nangong Aochin. As a man, he understands men best. Just by looking at Bewitching's eyes, he already understood Bewitching's determination to kill Nangong Aochin. Bewitching didn't like Mo Yinjue, and he had never seen Mo Yinjue before. But from the moment he saw Mo Yinjue, he knew that Mo Yinjue was not an ordinary person. At the very least, there must be an extremely powerful force behind Mo Yinjue. Otherwise, a mere restaurant owner would not have the courage to confront the royal family, not to mention, Mo Yinjue also dealt with the royal guards outside. When they left, Mo Yinjue remained in the royal arena, but he came out safe and sound. This alone is enough to prove Mo Yinjue's strength. The two looked at each other, and their hearts were full of turmoil. War between men has always been intense. I am very grateful for your care of Hongzhuang before, but if you have any unreasonable thoughts, I hope you can cut them off. Bewitching's voice was slightly deep. He saw the persistent light in Mo Yinjue's eyes. All those who have bad intentions against Hongzhuang are his opponents. Hearing this, Mo Yinjue chuckled lightly. Master D is really domineering. Even if Hongzhuang is already intended for you, you are not worthy of the title husband and wife. Maybe there will be changes in the future, and this situation may change. After all, Han Xiling is not someone who will give up easily. As Mo Yinjue's words fell, Bewitching's deep, dark eyes filled with a sharp light. Mo Yinjue knew so much about the situation between him and Hongzhuang. So far, he and Hongzhuang only have the name of husband and wife, and no one should know the truth about it except him and Hongzhuang. But Mo Yinjue knew. Could it be that Hongzhuang told him? As soon as this idea emerged, it was rejected by Bewitching. It was impossible for Hongzhuang to talk about it. Trying to steal a chicken but losing the rice instead. If you treat Hongzhuang well, I naturally have no chance, but if you don't, then I won't be polite. Mo Yinjue's eyes seemed to flash a cold light with a hint of a smile. He knew that he was not in Hongzhuang's heart now. However, the current situation did not represent the final outcome. From the earlier confrontation between Bailey Hongzhuang and Han Xiling at the ruins, it can be seen that if Bewitching's attitude is not decisive enough in dealing with this matter, the situation may change. He has one advantage, which is that he never gets impatient. Looking at Mo Yinjue's appearance, Bewitching's eyes narrowed slightly. It seems that he has really encountered a formidable opponent. The other party clearly knew his identity yet still dared to do this. His identity is truly worth investigating. He has to investigate it. After all, Mo Yinjue has investigated his affairs so clearly. Naturally, he also needs to understand. Then, I'm afraid you are wasting your time. Bewitching lazily looked at Mo Yinjue, but his handsome eyes, as deep as the sea, shone with seriousness and determination. He will never allow anyone to step in between Hongzhuang and himself. In the next moment, Bewitching's figure swept past, and continued to move towards the bedroom where Nangong Aochin was located. Now that things have come to this, there is nothing positive to say between him and Mo Yinjue. He will not give Mo Yinjue any chance. Mo Yinjue didn't care, and also swept towards Nangong Aochen's bedroom. Qingshao Kingdom's royal family has gone too far this time, and they should indeed pay a price. This Nangong Aochen's life cannot be kept. Just as Huan Chuyu thought, the royal family understood that Di Beichen would not easily leave. They had already protected the place where Nangong Aochen lived. However, what happened next exceeded their expectations. Because Nangong Aochen suddenly had a high fever that could not be controlled, and all the imperial doctors were at a loss after examining him. In a short period of time, Nangong Aochen had already lost consciousness and was confused. His injuries showed no sign of healing at all. After learning about this, Nangong Oi was furious. Nangong Aochen's experience today was a great shame, and after returning, he even became like this. Nangong Oi's mood can be imagined. However, after Nangong Oi knew that Bailey Hongzhuang had fed Nangong Aochen a pill, his expression changed a bit. He naturally knew that Bailey Hongzhuang was an alchemist, and at such a critical moment, the thing that Bailey Hongzhuang fed Nangong Aochen would not be something good. Nangong Oi looked at the imperial physician kneeling on the ground and said furiously, "Hurry and go invite the alchemist. Aochen's current state is definitely caused by Bailey Hongzhuang." Yes. The imperial physician scrambled off the ground as he left. Nangong Aochen's status in Qingshao Kingdom is extremely important. If something happened to Nangong Aochen, I'm afraid their lives would be lost. Nangong Oi's expression was extremely unpleasant. Bailey Hongzhuang is an alchemist, and the things she takes out can only be solved by alchemists. In this academy exchange match, the royal family did make a wrong decision, and now it's truly a case of trying to steal a chicken but losing the rice instead. Nangong Aochen has become like this. Even if he had dealt with it as soon as he came back, his hand tendons were pricked, and it would still very difficult to recover. TL/N1 trying to gain advantage, only ending up worse off. 2 trying to gain advantage, only ending up worse off. Concern, Di Beichen. When Di Beichen and Mo Yinjue came to Nangong Aochen's bedroom, they saw this scene. They didn't know that Bailey Hongzhuang had even fed Nangong Aochen a pill. Judging from the helpless situation of these people, they could tell that Bailey Hongzhuang's attack was sufficiently ruthless. She had already decided not to let Nangong Aochen go. Di Beichen and Mo Yinjue were both astonished. An ordinary woman would not know how to handle such a situation. However, Bailey Hongzhuang not only dealt with it calmly, but even had a solution in mind, which was truly astonishing. After seeing this, a realization shone in Di Beichen's eyes. He understands the medical skills of Hongzhuang, but if she had already taken action, then she would surely not let Nangong Aochen be detoxified so easily. It seems that Hongzhuang had already thought of everything, and his trip was in vain. Hongzhuang is really amazing. We've been outdone. Mo Yinjue's eyes glowed with admiration. Bailey Hongzhuang was both smart and brave, showing no mercy towards her enemies. It's hard to imagine that such an outstanding woman grew up in such an environment. Di Beichen glanced at Mo Yinjue and left the palace in a flash. Mo Yinjue watched as Di Beichen left. A meaningful smile spread across his lips. Perhaps he was late compared to Di Beichen, but that didn't mean that he will always be late in the future. With a flash of his body, Mo Yinjue's figure also disappeared into the darkness. The next day, Bailey Hongzhuang woke up leisurely, and when she opened her eyes, she saw Di Beichen beside the bed. Seeing Bailey Hongzhuang waking up, a joyful smile appeared in Di Beichen's eyes. "Wife, you are awake. Do you feel uncomfortable anywhere?" Bailey Hongzhuang smiled slightly and shook her head. "No." Di Beichen poured a glass of water for Bailey Hongzhuang, and gently fed it to her. He knew that Bailey Hongzhuang was just saying that. The pain from broken ribs is not something that one can recover from in a short period of time, but his wife has always been strong, not wanting to cause anyone worry. "My dear, you must be hungry. I'll go call someone to warm up the food for you." Di Beichen's eyes were filled with tenderness and doting. After yesterday's battle, Hongzhuang had not eaten anything. She must be very hungry. He had already had a meal prepared, but he didn't know when Hongzhuang would wake up. Bailey Hongzhuang looked at Di Beichen's bustling figure, with a happy smile on her lips. She thought it would be very difficult to leave the royal arena alive. But now, not only did she survive, everyone was also unharmed. She felt very lucky. Although her wounds were still painful, the pain had undoubtedly improved compared to what she had suffered from earlier. "Master, how are your injuries?" The eyes of Xiao He, Xiao Bai, and Bai Shi were full of concern, as they felt very sad seeing their master so injured. Bailey Hongzhuang reached out and touched the heads of the three little guys, and said with a smile, "Don't worry, I'm fine. You should be hungry too. I'll ask Di Beichen to prepare some food for you in a moment." Listening to her words, the three beasts did not show any joy. Compared to eating, the most important thing at this moment is the safety of the master. Introduction: Little buddies, master, if we encounter that kind of situation again, don't worry about the others, let Xiao Bai and I handle it. Xiao Hei's eyes gleamed with a serious and stubborn light. He understood that the reason why the master didn't let him and Xiao Bai fight was because of concern for their safety. But, seeing their master hurt, they felt even more sad. This feeling of powerlessness made them go crazy, especially Xiao Bai. "Yes, we can't always do this, everyone will know sooner or later," Xiao Bai said seriously. Looking at the serious glint in Xiao He and Xiao Bai's eyes, Bailey Hongzhuang also saw a hint of contemplation in their eyes. Not to mention other things, just the news that she was able to contract three beasts by herself would shock many people. Xiao He and Xiao Bai's strength is so outstanding, they would shock everyone even more. However, she also understands Xiao He and Xiao Bai's thoughts. Even Bai Shi is well known by everyone, but they are invisible. Xiao He and Xiao Bai must feel uncomfortable inside. Indeed, she should not continue to hide them anymore. Xiao He and Xiao Bai should also appear openly to everyone. Just when Bailey Hongzhuang was about to speak, Di Beichen returned with a meal. Xiao He and Xiao Bai swooped back to Bailey Hongzhuang's head a second before Di Beichen appeared, only Bai Shi was still beside Bailey Hongzhuang. Seeing this, Bailey Hongzhuang was even more deeply moved. Xiao He and Xiao Bai were also her partners. The previous treatment was indeed unfair to Xiao He and Xiao Bai. Looking at Bailey Hongzhuang's thoughtful expression, Di Beichen couldn't help asking, "Wife, what are you thinking about?" Bailey Hongzhuang smiled and said, "Beichen, come here first." With a faint smile on the corners of Di Beichen's lips, he walked over and sat down on the edge of Bailey Hongzhuang's bed. "Wife, what do you want to tell me?" "Beichen, I want to introduce two of my little friends to you." Hearing this, Di Beichen's eyes showed a hint of surprise. "Little friends?" Di Beichen gaze scanned the room, there was no one else in the room except him and his wife. Could it be that the opponent's strength is so strong that he even escaped his perception? Bailey Hongzhuang nodded slightly, and the next moment, she reached out and grabbed Xiao He and Xiao Bai off her head and said, "It's these two." She trusts Di Beichen enough, since they have already decided to be together, she doesn't want to hide anything from him anymore. Xiao He and Xiao Bai were surprised by Bailey Hongzhuang's actions. Although they had expressed their thoughts to their master earlier, they did not expect the master to decide so quickly. After Bailey Hongzhuang's gesture, Xiao He and Xiao Bai gradually became the same size as the white lion. Di Beichen looked at the suddenly enlarged Xiao He and Xiao Bai in front of him with a deep look of surprise in his eyes. This is, his deep eyes as vast as the sea were full of unspeakable shock. Even Di Beichen felt that this scene was truly shocking. He had noticed the black and white bead flowers on Bailey Hongzhuang's hair before, but he just thought that she just liked these bead flowers a lot, and he never thought much about it. But, who would have thought that these two bead flowers would be two monsters? This is too shocking. The soft cushion back then. Let me introduce you. This is Xiao He, and this is Xiao Bai. They are my contract beasts just like Bai Shi. Bailey Hongzhuang stroked the fluffy heads of Xiao He and Xiao Bai with an elegant and perfect smile on her face. Di Beichen looked at Xiao He and Xiao Bai in front of him. At first glance these two little guys looked like two fluffy balls, but upon closer inspection, he noticed that both of them had noses and eyes and were very cute. Hongzhuang, you said that the black one is called Xiao Bai, and the white one is called Xiao He? Di Beichen couldn't help but be surprised when he heard the names of Xiao He and Xiao Bai. These names are the opposite of their appearance. The smile in Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes deepened. That's right, I gave them their names. Hearing this, Di Beichen nodded slightly. This is indeed very creative. Seeing Di Beichen's expression, Bailey Hongzhuang understood that Di Beichen was very frustrated with these two names, but she was very satisfied with these two names. Do you mean that you have 3 contracted beasts? A serious look appeared in Di Beichen's eyes. He did not miss the point of Bailey Hongzhuang's words. Bailey Hongzhuang nodded slightly. That's right, Xiao He, Xiao Bai, and Bai Shi are all my contracted beasts, but I thought it would be shocking if the news got out, so I didn't say it all the time. There is no need to keep hiding it. Di Beichen frowned slightly. Almost everyone on the Xingxian continent knows about contracted beasts, but similarly, everyone knows that a cultivator can only contract with a single contracted beast. That's why cultivators are especially careful when making a contract with a magical beast, because they only have one chance in a lifetime. Once you have missed the opportunity, there will be no room for any changes in the future. However, Bailey Hongzhuang was able to contract 3 beasts. This news was too shocking. This news is indeed surprising. When did you contract Xiao He and Xiao Bai? Although Di Beichen was very surprised by the news, he always believed that the world is big and anything can happen. However, when looking at Xiao He and Xiao Bai, Di Beichen felt a familiarity, as if he had seen these two little guys somewhere before. Why do I feel that these two little guys are very familiar? Di Beichen furrowed his eyebrows. When did he meet them before? Hearing Di Beichen's words, Bailey Hongzhuang was slightly startled, and then the smile in her eyes deepened again. Speaking of which, Di Beichen, Xiao He, and Xiao Bai have indeed seen each other before. Suddenly, Di Beichen's eyes froze, and an incredible light flashed in his eyes. Wife, when you and I met for the first time, that cushion. After Di Beichen's comment, Bailey Hongzhuang couldn't help but chuck. It seems that your memory is very good. At that time, she used Xiao He and Xiao Bai to catch Di Beichen, but everyone thought that Xiao He and Xiao Bai were just a cushion, and no one thought much about it. Seeing that Bailey Hongzhuang confirmed his guess, Di Beichen's expression of surprise increased. He never thought that it was actually like this. I made a contract with Xiao He and Xiao Bai before we met, and they were the ones who have accompanied me all this time. Bailey Hongzhuang had a warm and bright smile on her lips. Because Xiao He and Xiao Bai had been by her side all this time, she never felt alone. Don't move, I'll feed you. So, before you contracted Bai Shi, you already had 2 contracted beasts? Di Beichen was a little surprised. Although contracted beasts are known to all cultivators of the Xingxian continent, it was very difficult for an ordinary cultivator to successfully find even one contracted beast. With Bailey Hongzhuang's status in the general's mansion back then, not to mention contracting 2 beasts, she normally would not have even seen the shadow of a contracted beasts. It seems that Bailey Hongzhuang must be some unknown secrets. However, Di Beichen was not concerned about these secrets. Bailey Hongzhuang was willing to tell him about Xiao He and Xiao Bai, which already proved her trust in him. Bailey Hongzhuang nodded lightly. That's right, Beichen, do you know if there are people in the Xingxian continent who can contract more than 1 beast? According to what Xiao He and Xiao Bai said, she is the master of the Ring of Chaos, so there is no limit to the number of contracted beasts. There is no doubt that the Xingxian continent of today is vastly different from the one 1,000 years ago, and she is not ignorant of the situation in this regard. Di Beichen thought for a moment and shook his head slightly. As far as I know, a cultivator can only contract 1 beast. So far I have never seen a cultivator who can contract more than 1 beast except you. However, having this ability is undoubtedly a great thing for you. At least you have many helpers. Bewitching's eyes were filled with admiration. Hongzhuang always managed to amaze him. This kind of ability that he had never seen before could also appear in Hongzhuang. Hearing this, Bailey Hongzhuang smiled lightly. So far, her 3 contracted beasts are stronger than her. As the master, she is under a huge amount of pressure. Bewitching assessed Xiao He and Xiao Bai, and he could faintly sense some fluctuations from these 2 little fellows. It seems that these 2 little guys are also very strong. Thinking of this, Bewitching also feels a little relieved. If his wife always has a lot of help around her, at least the danger will be been reduced a lot. Bewitching, Xiao He, Xiao Bai and Bai Shi are also hungry, can you? Before Bailey Hongzhuang finished speaking, Bewitching understood, I'll send someone to prepare something immediately. Xiao He and Xiao Bai looked at each other, and their eyes flashed with excitement. Judging from this attitude, there is no need for them to hide from now on. Ha ha! Xiao He and Xiao Bai rolled around excitedly. They are finally able to reappear in public. Bewitching brought the food to Bailey Hongzhuang. When Bailey Hongzhuang was about to take the food, she felt some pain in her arm. Don't move, I'll feed you. Hearing Bewitching's domineering yet gentle words, Bailey Hongzhuang blushed a little. No one had ever fed her before. What's more, this person is Bewitching. Xiao He, Xiao Bai, and Bai Shi all looked at Bailey Hongzhuang with a narrow gaze. This kind of atmosphere is really ambiguous. Bailey Hongzhuang glared at the 3 beasts. These 3 guys were not usually excited about things like this. Xiao He, Xiao Bai and Bai Shi immediately raised their paws to cover their eyes. I can't see, I don't see anything. There was a helpless light in Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes. Their paws were open wide, clearly not blocking their eyes, okay? Seeing this, Bewitching couldn't help but chuckle. The 3 contracted beasts of his lady are really lively. You're tuning into the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.